So your ex wants that old thing back, right? Now, you're trying to figure out if you want to spin the block or not. You done blocked them on all social medias, including here, the IG, the FB, and everywhere else, right? So now they calling you from a text now number, and they still can't get through because you don't accept calls from unknown numbers. So now your ex is coming to me as a client asking, will they ever unblock me? Will we ever get back together? And me personally, I always want to say, hell no, y'all ain't getting back together. Now that's just my thoughts. My thoughts do not matter, however, okay? But, you know, I would beg to differ and say, why would you want to be back with someone who has blocked you out of their life? But there may be a specific reason why you block this individual. So there are a lot of variables that come into play. That's what I always like to say. There's always variables, right? So let's see what these cards have to say. Yeah, disregard what I feel, but let's see what Spirit wants to reveal, right? So this is pick a card, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Whatever number appears in your mind's eye, 1, 2, or 3, that is what you go with. Now, if you selected card 1, this is for you. Should you take that old thing back? Should you get back with your ex? This first card is Return of Spirit. All right. Now, this is very interesting because at this point in time, it took you a lot to get to where you are at this point right now. Okay. You know how they say sometimes separation, time, and space is good for the soul? You've taken enough time to separate yourself from the person and the situation to be able to gain your bearings and to stand on solid ground and just stand on business and fully understand who you are at this point right now. You've been in this relationship for who knows how long. And a lot of times when you enter into relationships, of course, there's a coming together of two individuals, and sometimes those lines become blurred, in merging together or coming together, and you begin to lose yourself. And then when you lose yourself, you tend to, I guess you would say, disregard or throw out the window certain standards and different things that you initially would have set in place of, I would never do that, or I would never accept that, or, you know. So in the separation, you were able to get back to the person that you once were, but also develop the new person that you've become because of the circumstances and relationship that you was previously in. So it produces a new person as well. So you're able to incorporate some of the old with some of the new, and you're this changed or upgraded person. And you see how with this card it looks like this person has risen, like they're rising like the phoenix. It's like they've been revived, their spirit is renewed. Everything is anew. You finally got things back in your life. Everything is back in order. You know, when one area of your life is out of balance, it tends to have a domino effect, and then everything else begins to fall out of balance. So say for instance, you're working and work is not doing so well for you. You come home, you bring that home, then your home life is not so good. Your relationships are not so good. Your health is not so good. So it's a domino effect. So with this card, it's saying you finally got back to the point where you feel as if your spirit has been renewed. Do you really want to go down that rabbit hole again? You really need to make some decisions. Now, if this person is willing to sit down, communicate, is open to learning, growing, changing, and learning different ways and avenues to handle difficult situations within a relationship, respect and trust is reciprocal, all of those things and even more, then possibly you could be able to work on it. But if you know deep down inside, besides what Spirit is saying, and besides what I think, the thing is, you know what's best for you, okay? I can only help to produce that and bring that out of you, but you know deep down inside. So if you know deep down inside this is not a good idea, don't go with it, all right? If you selected card 2, this is for you. Confidence. All right. Now, this is very interesting. These cards, I always feel like I always tell people would pick a card. You might want to listen to 1, 2, and 3 because they always kind of flow into each other. Now, with the confidence card, you see this picture right here? It's almost like a reflection, right? Like if you merge them together, they're just like identical. They're like two sides of the same coin, if I'm saying that right. And what this card is really telling me is I feel as if the separation, I'm not going to say that it was petty, but it's just the fact that maybe the two of you just wasn't for some reason seeing eye to eye. And even in situations when they arose, it was just like y'all weren't able to come together and really, I guess, with a united front and really understand where each other is coming from just because of where you were mentally and just even spiritually as well. Sometimes people are on different playing fields. Not to say one is higher than the other, but it's just different planes, right? And so sometimes you're not able to understand someone who's on this plane and someone who's on this plane can't understand the person that's on this plane. And so it's just very difficult to coexist. So with the separation, time and space, you're able to kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes and say, you know what, I understand the intent more than the outcome. You know what I mean? Like if I go back, because the outcome was just like, no, you know what I mean? But when you go back and break things down into pieces and kind of piece things together, and you say, okay, I understand why this occurred within our relationship. I understand why we didn't understand one another. I see what's going on. And then you're like, it really was not that bad. So with this card here, with the confidence card, it's saying like, you know, you're already a person who's true to you. You're true to yourself. You really understand a lot. And the other person is as well. You're very two strong-willed individuals, very intellectual, very smart. You stay in your head. You think a lot. It's just that you have to kind of step back sometimes and put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand where they're coming from. And intention is very important. Okay. So with this, should you get back together, it looks promising. Now, if you selected card 3, this is for you. Contact. Baby, out of all these 2 cards that we just pulled, baby, y'all don't need no contact. You see, this looks far away. This looks out of space. This is like a beam. I'm getting many different things with this. Like, baby, I handle you with the what grandma used to say, a long wooden spoon. I say, hey, I can be cordial to you, and sometimes you can't even be cordial to people. You just gotta let them go and block them like you did. I don't know. You might need to just leave them alone. Okay? So that's just plain and simple, period.